Hi friends. So in this session we will look at how to create a project and what are the different configurations and options that you can configure in Jira for your project. Now I am at a system dashboard. In order to create a project, click on project drop down and select create project. Jira allows you to create various project types. For example, for simple issue tracking, the default issue type that it gives is new feature, task and subtask, and the status is provided done and in progress. Now these are the default status, and you can always add your own status and configure the workflow as you like. Okay. For example, in the software development project, if you select, you will be given issue type, task, subtask, new feature, bug, and the workflow and statuses would be to do, then in progress, in review, and done. Okay. You can see the Agile Scrum and Agile Kanban. These are related to the Agile Jira Agile plugin, as you can see here. Now, once you install this plugin, this will be enabled, and then you can create this type of a project, which will give you an issue type called Epic as well. So for now, I'll move ahead with the software development project. Click next, and this will be the default issue type and the workflow and statuses. Click next. I'll provide the name, let's say my portal. Okay, and the key will be MP. Now this key is very important because for every issue that you create within this project, this key will be the suffix. So if for example, if you create a first issue in this portal, in this project my portal, the key the issue would be like mp-1 and then mp-2, right? So it's important that this key is short but meaningful, because if you have, let's say, 20 projects within a large organization, looking at your issue mp-1, you should be able to come to know that this is for my portal. I click on submit. So you have created, the project name is my portal, the key is MP, and because I have created, the default lead is Parvez Misrwala. Okay. And overview, it has two: overview and administration. Overview will have summary, issues, and reports. Where summary, it gives you the summary, and then there are notes created. And then there are inbuilt reports which you can see later. For each of the project you can populate. In the administration section, let's first look at various configurations that you will see in administration. Let's first look at versions and components. Now versions are nothing but the releases within your project. So for example, if your project is a kind of a product is my portal, and versions is version 1.0, that's the first version that you select, so you will say v1.0. you can add a version and just hit enter. Let's say then version 1.1 and then version 2.0. so you can define these versions, you can define release dates of these versions. The start date is, let's say, 21st, and the end date is 31st, and say update, right? Components. Components are nothing but the categorization of your project. For example, you will have different small feature sets. So for example, let's say registration. If I talk of a typical clinical system, registration, outpatient, inpatient. For example, if my portal supports multi-language, any issue that is related to multi-language, I will say multi-language. This is just helps how you can categorize your issues while you are creating it. Okay. Now on the top you can see issue types, workflows, screens, and fields. Okay, so when you click on issue type, there is a software development issue type scheme. So you can create these schemes for your project. Now currently this is the scheme. To change the scheme, you can always say use a different scheme. And here you can change the schemes. Currently we will look at it later. Okay. And then there are workflows, so there will be a workflow scheme that is associated to this project. You can always create a new scheme. For example, if you want a different workflow only for this project, and you want to use this workflow for other projects, you can actually create a different scheme and associate it to this project. And then screens. Now if you want to use a different screens and different field sets, you can actually create a screen. Similarly, you can create the field schemes here. Let's look at the roles and permissions. So a project allows you to define some roles. For example, administrator is the role, and this you can assign a user to be a project administrator. So if he is a project administrator, that user will be able to create versions, create components, change the schemes here, right? So you can assign either a user group. So for example, if I want to assign administrator, let's say P Pervez, though I am already there in the Jira administrator, I need not to do that right now. But if you want to assign some other user, you can always assign it over here. Even to a developers and the users, the difference would be all the users logins that are created in Jira will by default have Jira users permission. So that means every user of this project. If you want only a specific set of people to really use this project, you can actually define that group and assign it here. So and remove these Jira users. Permissions. Now this is one very powerful security mechanism where you can define a permissions. Currently we are using a default permission schemes, and in a permission scheme you will be able to define who will have the rights for each of the permissions. For example, the various types of permissions you can see is administration, administer the project, browse the project. You can set issue permissions, edit issue, move issue, assign someone, delete an issue, link an issue. From voters, you can see view the voters and watchers. There is the permissions related to comments, permission related to attachments, and related to logging and editing of work. So you can actually assign either a user or a group or a project role. So here you will see by default all the project roles. If you want to assign a user, you can assign it by edit permissions. You can look at that later. And then you can see this notification scheme. So currently we default notification scheme. Notification scheme means for every event that is done on the project, on the issues, who want to be notified. So for example, there are various events like issue created, updated, assigned, resolved. Let's say if there is an issue, you want a notification whether you are a watcher or right, or you are not an assignee or whatever. So you can actually assign your name here, and so whenever an issue will be closed, you will be notified that the issue is closed. So this was all about a project. We will look at each of these in detail when we talk of the issue type schemes, the workflow schemes, and the permission schemes. We'll see how these reflects when you create an issue. Thank you.